Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. So some of you guys have been in the crypto space for a while and have probably heard about the Ripple Mafia. This article came out about 10 months ago, so almost a year ago now, but I thought it was worth covering again. I didn't actually cover it the first time it came out, but in times of crypto collapse, one must remember the importance of having an intertwined network on your side. And guys, Ripple is the company that has just that. For those of you guys who do remember this article, it might be a good time to refresh. I am going to try to cover a few different angles in this video, so sit back, relax. I hope you guys bought some XRP at crazy discounted prices because guys, this thing is going to be huge. So the Ripple Mafia from 10 months ago, ladies and gentlemen, our friends from Alpha Trade Zone just submitted a wonderful, elaborate piece about Ripple. We won't leave many words about it. Just make sure to grab your favorite beverage, sit down, and let this piece of extensive research sink in. So, what if I told you that the Nobel Prize laureate and economist Milton Friedman talked about electric cash back in 1999? Or how about that cyberpunks have been calling for decentralized and anonymous financial transactions since 1993? And finally, David Chaum wrote a paper on anonymous electronic money all the way back in 1982. So when it comes to the world of cryptocurrencies, there's a lot going on in the background that most of us are unaware of. Many conversations are held and decisions being made behind the curtain by influential individuals and organizations long before the general public is aware. And among all this commotion, one crypto company stands out: Ripple. It is a skillful player in the world of politics, having established strong, widespread relationships with the most powerful decision makers and thought leaders. This is surely to be a key pillar of Ripple's success. Oh, and what if I told you that Ripple was older than Bitcoin? So guys, Ripple the company, today we'll talk about some interesting connections between Ripple and numerous influential individuals including Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and Peter Thiel, and powerful organizations including the IMF, Google, and the US Federal Reserve. So Ripple's primary vision is to enable the world to move money as fast as information. With over 300 employees and with offices in the USA, UK, Australia, Singapore, India, Luxembourg, Japan, and Dubai, Ripple provides services to over 100 corporate clients. Their products, XCurrent, XV, and XRapid, are gaining traction and are being incorporated by huge names like Temenos. And so guys, I will warn you, there are a few things that are a little outdated in this article, but overall you will get the gist. By the way, I forgot to mention this. Ian Northing was the one who posted this originally on Twitter. That's at Ian Bins. So I did see this a few days ago, and this is what got me thinking about the Ripple connection. And then the market collapsed, and I thought, no, you know what? We need a refresher on why Ripple is essentially set up to succeed. So back to the Ripple Mafia here. So even more, Chris Larsen, the executive chairman of Ripple, believes that XRP could even help prevent the next financial crisis by releasing the tied up capital. How did everything begin? And so guys, it all began with a company called OpenCoin. Ryan Fugger started developing Ripple in 2004. Guys, that's right. 2004. Several years already before Bitcoin. In 2012, it turned into OpenCoin Inc. by Jed McCaleb and Arthur Brito, David Schwartz, and Chris Larsen. A year later, the company was backed by some of the best known venture funds in Silicon Valley. So guys, it was already backed by venture funds in Silicon Valley, even when it was called OpenCoin. They included Google Ventures, Peter Thiel, who is the co-founder of PayPal, and Andreessen Horowitz, the company that sold Skype to Microsoft for a whopping $8.5 billion. So let's first talk about the PayPal Mafia. So speaking of Peter Thiel, let's talk about the PayPal Mafia. So that included Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Steve Chen, Reid Hoffman, and Russell Simmons all worked together at PayPal. They later sold it to eBay for $1.5 billion to split the cash and create multiple billion-dollar companies of their own. The list is long and includes names like SpaceX, Tesla, YouTube, Yelp, and LinkedIn. Well done, guys. We are seeing a similar pattern in the world of crypto. And so guys, just to go over this for a second, I'm just going to bring up a chart here because this is some information that I think you should realize. In this article, they are already likening the PayPal Mafia to the Ripple Mafia. And, smart minds are behind this. Obviously went on to build huge companies down the road. So I just wanted to show you guys some of these companies. So for example, I'm just going to show you guys some of these charts here. PayPal, for example. Okay, just to give you guys a quick snapshot of how these stocks have done over the years. So this is PayPal Holdings. Okay, since began in July 2015, and this is where the stock is trading today. So there's PayPal there, Tesla, another one, right? Look at these charts, okay? Everything moving upward heavily. Of course, Tesla have had their own problems and have now declined a little bit, but still ultimately up on the month. Google, guys, another huge one now called Alphabet and has split several times. Finally, eBay, guys, eBay started back in the late 90s, and just look at those stock prices. So guys, they are already likening Ripple to this kind of activity in the broader .com space. And so we took a look at those charts. Now I'm going to show you guys this. Ripple is building something huge. And so PayPal stock, for example, went from $38 to $102, representing a 168.4% increase. Tesla 19 to about 221.75, representing a 1,067.1% increase. Yes, that is even taking into consideration the decline it's had over the last several months. Google 566 to 1215.75, 118.6%, but that is just since 2014. The Google stock has split several times and was listed differently before that. I know it was trading in, I think, 2004, 2005 for in the hundreds, I think $100 or $200 back then. Plus it has split. So this actually isn't very a good indicator of what Google's done. It has actually done way more than that. And eBay finally, guys, trading at 94 cents in the late 90s, now trading at $38.75. Up 4,022.3%. So guys, these are some of those companies from some of the founders of the PayPal Mafia, and you can see how their stocks are doing now. I brought up Google, by the way, because Google owns YouTube. So just another company there that bought up a company and the success story that followed. So Jed McCaleb, the founder of OpenCoin Mt. Gox and eDonkey, left Ripple to set up Stellar, and Justin Sun created Tron, currently evaluated more than $1.5 billion. Who will be the next Elon Musk, and what will be the next YouTube? That we don't know. What we do know pretty well, though, is that Ripple is building something huge, and you'll see why in a moment. So then this gets into Ripple's top management and third-party relationships. So let's start by taking a look at some of their current directors and their relationships with big organizations. So we have Chris Larsen, executive chairman and one of the co-founders of OpenCoin. An extensive fintech background, being a member of the Fintech High-Level Advisory Group at the IMF and the HSBC. He is making sure that Ripple's interests are taken into consideration by the global government organizations. Okay, guys, Chris Larsen on high-level advisory boards, both at the IMF and HSBC. Susan Athey, a senior economic consultant to the Microsoft and Ripple's board, is another key player. She is responsible for the partnership between Ripple and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This partnership aims at banking the unbanked in developing countries. Okay, we got Ken Kurson, and he's the person who is closely related to the Trump family. He served as the executive vice president of Jamestown Associates, which also runs controversial pro-Republican advertising campaigns in the U.S., including those of Donald Trump. Gene Sperling was a chief economic advisor to Hillary Clinton during her 2016 presidential campaign. We got also David Schwartz, Ripple's lead developer, used to be on the board before he gave his spot to Ken Kurson, and David has worked for CNN and the NSA on multiple occasions. If you guys don't know this, David Schwartz has done some consulting work for the NSA. So this article was from last year, Ripple's $1 trillion man, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have read this one. One of Ripple's lead cryptographers. So it says here, meanwhile, he was getting interested in cryptography. In 2001, he landed a company in Santa Clara, California called Webmaster Inc., where he helped design an early cloud-based storage system. During his decade there, he also consulted for the National Security Agency, the NSA, helping integrate the agency's network software with existing security and public key infrastructure technology. In other words, Schwartz was gaining a working knowledge of cryptography at a high level. It was a fantastic experience, he says. So David Schwartz, one of Ripple's lead cryptographers, has had contract work for the National Security Agency on the federal level, okay? We can start seeing how these relationships are going to become more important for Ripple as we continue discovering more. These are just some of Ripple's directors and their cozy relationships with the rich and powerful of our world. If you look closer, even more fascinating details come to light. So now, guys, we have the Bilderberg Group. Ripple and the Bilderberg Group, the connection. What is the connection between Ripple and the Bilderberg Group? Well, After all, it's a forum established in 1954 for immensely influential individuals and organizations to engage and interact and share ideas. So guys, here's Bilderberg Group on Wikipedia. It's an annual conference established obviously in 1954 to foster dialogue between Europe and North America. The group's agenda was originally to prevent another world war and is now defined as bolstering a consensus around free market, Western capitalism, and its interests around the globe. So participants include political leaders, experts from industry, finance, academia, and the media, numbering between 120 and 150 people. So guys, a hugely influential meeting that happens in the world. And you have to be in the know if you are going to be invited to this thing, right? So senior decision makers from companies like IBM, Xerox, Nokia, Daimler, Google, and Amazon meet together with monarchs, politicians, and academics every year to discuss business opportunities. Interestingly enough, Susan Athey, part of Ripple's team as pictured up here, guys. Susan Athey joined Ripple shortly after attending the Bilderberg Group meeting in 2013. Anna Botin was invited to the meeting in 2015, and as you guys know, she is part of Banco Santander, and Ripple obviously is a partner of Santander Bank. Peter Thiel, one of Ripple's early investors and colleagues, are present at almost every Bilderberg Group meeting. Bill Clinton, obviously another member and keynote speaker at last year's Ripple Swell Conference. Ben Bernanke, the former Federal Reserve Chairman, who also regularly participates in those meetings, was the keynote speaker at Swell last year as well, or rather 2 years ago because this was written last year. Interests of numerous businesses, organizations, and pressure groups are represented in those gatherings. Nonetheless, it does seem clear that Ripple's agenda is successfully being pushed forward. So you guys are starting to see how this all adds up, why this is very, very important for you to understand when investing in XRP, when really understanding Ripple and how they are permeating so many facets of our global economy. So we also have the CME Group and Digital Currencies Group, the surprising ties. So who else might be connected to Ripple? Well, a better question would be who is not connected to Ripple? The famous CME Group that offers crypto futures is an investor in Ripple and has one of its executives, Miguel Valles, as Ripple's top management. Leo Melamed, CME's group's chairman, once said, "We'll tame Bitcoin." Quite an ambition. Another investor in Ripple is Digital Currency Group. The group has a stake in Coinbase and many other crypto-related services. Speaking of Coinbase, let's take a look at Ripple's partnership with the Via Americas Corporation. Its co-founder and CEO, Paul Dwyer, is a board chairman of the Money Services Business Association. The MSBA works directly with the Securities and Exchange Commission. So if the SEC declares XRP a security, which we know it will not, as we have had a clear definition from Jay Clayton. I covered that a few videos ago, so maybe I can skip this part. Nevertheless, guys, I will link this in the description if you want to read further. So it talks about if it's listed as a security or not. Furthermore, Ripple, together with a group of companies, have formed the Securing America's Internet of Value Coalition. This organization employed services of the Klein Johnson Group, a bipartisan lobbying firm, to raise issues with the SEC and other government agencies involved in the regulation of cryptocurrencies. So Ripple and its influential leaders know really well how to protect their interests, and they are actively doing it. Overall, Ripple has partnered with more than 100 banks. At the time of this writing, it was 100 banks. Now we know it's over 220 banks and financial institutions around the world. So guys, some of these names include, but are not limited to, American Express, MoneyGram, Standard Chartered, UniCredit, BBVA, Santander, and Credit Agricole. And guys, the expansion continues. Later this year, Ripple is opening an office in Dubai. We already know that. Latin America's largest banks will soon use Ripple to process payments. As we know, guys, back in July, they did officially announce the partnership with MoneyGram. So at this point, the partnership wasn't solidified, but now, as we know, they have indeed partnered with MoneyGram. Ripple has a stake in MoneyGram now. It says here one of the biggest banks in Asia, SBI, is a long-term partner and investor in Ripple. Obviously, the integration of Ripple with Temenos, which we haven't heard from in a while, a B2B financial software solution, was another step forward as it allowed Ripple to gain access to over 500 million customers and 3,000 financial institutions in more than 150 countries. Guys, Ripple is laying the groundwork now. We're not seeing that volume through XRP right this second, but that is literally because the regulations have not come to pass. We don't have that worldwide guidance. We don't have a clear framework from country to country to country in order to implement this yet. Ripple is clearly getting this done, but it is still going to take time. So guys, to wrap it all up, guys, those whom we see as visionaries understand well that it's the business component of their vision that drives adoption. For better or for worse, groundbreaking technology goes nowhere without commerce. It was true for the printing press, and it's also true for cryptocurrencies. And at the core of building a strong commercial base is building strong business relationships. This is something that Ripple truly excels at. Anyways, guys, if you were still skeptical, if you were feeling upset that your XRP isn't going up, just keep reminding yourself that Ripple is in it for the long game. They are building the connections. They are continually doing the right thing in the space, being transparent, being agreeable with regulators and governments worldwide. And it's because of these connections that they are essentially set up to succeed. Anyways, guys, that's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.